What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my phone collection for August 2026. So I'm going to first start with all of my non-smartphones or non-Android slash iPhones, and then I'll get to the Android and iPhones after this. So let's just get started. Over here I've got the Samsung M305 on Disney Mobile. And then another one right here. And then this is the M300 on Sprint. I don't have batteries in either of these two because one of them is in another phone. Then I have the SPH M320 on Sprint. Neither of these like to charge on their battery, so I can't really get them powered on. I mean, I can, just only while they're charging in that window. But then you have the Samsung Snap on US Cellular. Then the SGH F250, I believe. Yeah, F250 on T-Mobile. At least it had a T-Mobile SIM card in it when I got it. Then we have the Samsung Stunt on Cricket. Then the Samsung Smiley on T-Mobile. The Samsung Gusto 2 on Verizon. And then the Messenger and Messenger 2, both on Cricket. I don't have batteries for either of these, so, but they do show sign of life on the charger. Then I have one SGH A777, which I don't have a battery for. Then the SGH A157, which there's not a battery in this, but it is working. Then the SPH A840, which there's no battery in this, and I don't have one to really test it with, so this one's just untested. Moving over here, we have the SGH. We have the SGH A927 on AT&T. Then the Freeform 4 on Cricket. This one works. It's just there's no battery in it. And this one also doesn't have a battery. This is the Freeform 5, also on Cricket. Then we have the SGH A227, I believe, on AT&T. This one works. Yeah. And then we have the SGH T509. I believe this one works. It's just I don't have a battery that works in it. Then here is the Samsung Instinct on Sprint. This one's on T-Mobile. Then here is the Samsung Brightside on Verizon. Has an invalid battery, so it's going to scream when it powers on. Then here is the Samsung Highlight on T-Mobile. Here is the Nokia 3390B, which the battery is not charged, and it's kind of finicky to charge. Then the Nokia 3595 on TracFone, I believe, but I just don't usually turn this one on because you can't really get a startup sound on it. Then here is the Nokia 3588i on Sprint. Then here is the Nokia 1100B. I don't know what carrier it is, and it's untested. Then the Nokia 6030B, which also is untested because there's no battery in either of these. Then the Nokia 1661 store demo unit on T-Mobile. Obviously, it's not a really working phone, but then we have the Motorola W490 on T-Mobile. Here's the Motorola W755 on Verizon. Then here is the Motorola W376G on TracFone. Yeah, and then here's the Motorola Rival on Verizon. Here is the LG CU515 on AT&T. It does work, I'm pretty sure, but there's no battery in this. Then here's the LG 440G on TracFone. Here's the LG Octane on Verizon, which does work. It just has a bad battery, so can't really turn it on. Here's the LG Envy Touch on Verizon, which works totally fine. Then here is the Sony TM717 on T-Mobile. I don't know if this works because I don't have a charger for either of these. This is the Sony Ericsson TM506 on T-Mobile. Yeah, I'm not sure if either of those work. Then here is my BlackBerry Curve. I don't remember which model it is, but it is on Verizon. Then here's my BlackBerry Style, which is on, and then this is the UT Starcom XV6700 on Verizon. This one probably works, because it does show signs of life on the charger, but it does need a new battery. I've had this one for a while now, actually. So yeah, that's all of the non-Android / iOS smartphones. Okay, so moving on to Android-based Samsung phones and tablets here. First here is the Samsung Galaxy S Captive 8 on AT&T. Then here is the Samsung Intercept on Virgin Mobile, which is working. It's just I don't have a battery in it. Then here is the Samsung Indulge on Cricket. Then the Galaxy Prevail on Boost Mobile. There's no battery in this as well because these three all use the same battery. Here is the Samsung Galaxy Admire on Metro PCS. Here is the Galaxy S2 on T-Mobile. Here's the Galaxy M Style on SK Telecom. Then here is the Samsung Illusion on Verizon. Here's the Samsung Nexus S on T-Mobile. And then I have several Galaxy S3s. So this one is T-Mobile. Here's a Sprint one. AT&T. This one has the cover. and Virgin Mobile. And then 2 Verizon S3s. These are working, but they don't have batteries inside. Next up here is a Samsung Galaxy Rush on Boost Mobile. Then the Samsung Galaxy Discover on Cricket. The Samsung Galaxy Legend on Verizon. It's the prepaid version of the Galaxy Stellar. Then here is a Galaxy S3 Mini on AT&T. And another S3 Mini on Verizon. Here's a Galaxy S4 on Sprint. I have several Galaxy S4s. Here's another one on Sprint Tri-Band. Here's S4 on Verizon. S4 on T-Mobile. And the S4 Active on AT&T. Over here is the Galaxy Note 3. Then this one without a back cover is a Galaxy Light. This one was on Verizon. This one is on Metro PCS. Then here we have the Galaxy S5. Another S5. This one is Sprint. And then an S5 on T-Mobile. And here is a Galaxy S5 Sport on Sprint. The Note 4, Galaxy Note 4 on Verizon. And another Note 4 on AT&T. This one doesn't have a pen or a back cover. Here is the Galaxy Avant. Then here is a Galaxy Core Prime. This one is on Metro PCS and this one is on Verizon. Then I have the Galaxy S6 on Verizon. Galaxy Grand Prime on TracFone. Back over here is the Galaxy J3 2016 on Sprint. Then a Galaxy S7 on Sprint. Then here is the Galaxy Express Prime on AT&T. The Galaxy On 5 on Metro PCS. And then the Galaxy J3 Prime on T-Mobile. This is the Galaxy J7 Pop on AT&T, or the J7 2017 as AT&T calls it. Here is a Galaxy S9. and then a Galaxy S9 Plus on Verizon. Here is the Galaxy J3 Star on T-Mobile. A Galaxy J7 Crown on TracFone. And the Galaxy J2 on TracFone. Up here is the Galaxy A10e on Cricket. The Galaxy Note 10, which is on Sprint, but I have it on unlocked firmware. This one is also a kind of early device. It's an engineering device. Then the Galaxy S20 Plus 5G on Xfinity. Is Galaxy A01 on, I believe, TracFone. Here is a Galaxy A02s on Boost. The Galaxy S21 Fan Edition 5G, I believe, on Verizon. This one is MDM. It has MDM profile on it, but you can still get on the home screen. Here is a Galaxy A03s. Yeah, Galaxy A03s on TracFone. Here's a Galaxy A15 5G on AT&T. Okay. Moving on to tablets. This is the first generation Galaxy Tab on Verizon. Which should be, there we go. Here's the Galaxy Tab 3 on Sprint. The 7-inch model, which has horrible battery life when shut down, even. Okay. Here is the Galaxy Note 8-inch 2013 on, actually no carrier because it's Wi-Fi only. Then my Galaxy Tab 4 Wi-Fi only model. The battery the replacement battery I'd got for this is not very good. Like, it just doesn't work all that well. So, yeah, I'm not going to power it on because it's probably dead. Then here is the Galaxy Tab 4 on Verizon. 8-inch model. Over here. This is the Galaxy Tab A 2015 Wi-Fi only, I believe. Yeah, this is Wi-Fi only. And finally, for Samsung, is the Galaxy Tab A 2019 8-inch LTE model. Unlocked. So that is all of my Samsung Android-based devices. So yeah, let's move on to LG. Okay, here are all of my LG Android phones. So I'll just get started with these. First, here's the LG Optimus S on Sprint. Here's the LG Optimus L9 on T-Mobile. Here's the LG Optimus L90 on T-Mobile. Here's the LG Venice on Boost. This one's out of battery at the moment. Here's the LG G3 on Sprint. Here is the LG Lucky on TracFone. Here's the LG G4 on US Cellular. Here is the LG K7 on T-Mobile. Here's the LG G Vista 2 on AT&T. This one doesn't have a back cover. Here is the LG V10 dual SIM. Here's a LG K8V on Verizon. Here's a LG Stylo 2 Plus on Metro PCS. Here's an LG V20 on Sprint. Here's the LG Stylo 3 on Boost. Here's a LG K20V on Verizon. Here's an LG G6 that was on Sprint but currently has unlocked firmware. Here's the LG V30 on T-Mobile. Here's a LG V40 on T-Mobile as well. Here's a LG G7 on Verizon. Here is another LG G7. I got this one today. This one is on Sprint and has a better screen than my Verizon model. Here's the LG Stylo 4 Plus on AT&T. And finally, here's the LG Stylo 5. So that's all my LG phones. Now, let's move on to Motorola. Moving on to my Motorola Android phones. First, here is the Motorola Devour on Verizon. Here's a Motorola Droid X on Verizon. It's already on, as it will always boot to Clockwork Mod after if it's shut down. Here is a Motorola Droid Razr on Verizon, and then a Droid Razr M on Verizon. Then here's a Motorola Droid Ultra on Verizon. Here's a absolutely destroyed Moto G first generation on Boost Mobile. Here's a Moto X Play. Here's a Moto Z Droid on Verizon. Here's a Moto Z3 Play engineering unit from, it's actually very late stage, it's a PVT model, but yeah. And then here's a Moto E5 Play on T-Mobile. Here's a Moto G6 I'm pretty sure this one's unlocked. Here's a Moto G7 Power on Metro. Here's a Moto E 2020 that is also on Metro. Here's a Moto G 5G. Here's a Moto G Power 2021. Here's a Motorola Edge 2021 on Verizon. Here's the Moto G 5G 2023 on Cricket. And then here is the Motorola Edge Plus 2023. So that's all my Motorola phones. Now I'll move on to Apple devices. So here are all of my Apple devices. So I'll go ahead and get started with these. So here is a iPhone 3GS. Here's an iPhone 4S. Here's an iPod Touch 4th generation. Here's a iPod Touch 5th generation. Here's a iPhone 5S. Here's another iPhone 5S. Here's an iPhone 5C. Here's an iPhone 6. Here's an iPhone 6 Plus. Here's an iPod Touch 6th generation. Here's a iPhone 7 Plus, or not 7 Plus, just 7. Here's a iPhone SE 2. Here are two iPhone 13 Pros. Moving to iPads. Here's an iPad 2. Here's a iPad mini, 1st generation. Here's another iPad mini, 1st generation. Here's a iPad mini 2. Here's an iPad Air 2. Here's another iPad Air 2. And here is my iPad Pro 13-inch 2025. So that is all my Apple devices. Now I'll be moving on to just every other brand that I have. Okay, finally, here are all of my just other brand devices that I don't have so many of for each brand. So let's get started with these with ZTE. This is ZTE Grand X on Cricket. This is a ZTE Quest on Q-Link Wireless. This is a ZTE Z-Max Pro on Metro PCS. Here's a ZTE Z5G LTE on TracFone. There's a ZTE Blade X on Cricket. There's a ZTE Blade X Max on Cricket. Here's a Alcatel Avalon V on Verizon. Here's a Alcatel One X on Metro PCS. Here's a TCL 10 SE. Here's a TCL 40 XE 5G on Spectrum. Here's a HTC Dream or T-Mobile G1. Here's a HTC MyTouch 4G on T-Mobile. Here's a HTC Evo 3D on Sprint. Here's a HTC One M8 on T-Mobile. Here's the Nokia Lumia 900 on AT&T. Here's the Microsoft Lumia 640 on AT&T. Here's a Nokia G300 on TracFone. Here's a Nokia X100 on Metro PCS, which I'm not going to power on because it always boot loops. Here's a Google Pixel 3a. Here's a Google Pixel 4a 5G. Here's a OnePlus One. Here's a OnePlus 8 on Verizon. Here's the Cricket icon. Here's the Cricket Ovation. This is the Huawei Ascend Q on Cricket. This is the Pantech Crossover on AT&T. This is the Blue View 2 on TracFone. This is the Coolpad Canvas on Cricket. This is the Cloud Mobile Stratus C7 on TrueConnect. Here's a Hot Pepper Serrano 3 on Q-Link Wireless. Up here is the Sky Devices Elite A63 Max. Here's the Foxed A67L, I believe, on Tag Wireless. Here's the Amazon Fire Phone. And finally is the Amazon Fire HD8 2020. So yeah, that's it for this phone collection video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. See you guys.